Welcome to Movie Insight Global. Today I am going to explain an action-adventure fantasy film called D-War. Spoilers ahead. Watch and enjoy. At the beginning of the movie, a voice narrates that many people think the time of dragons is over, but in reality, it has only just begun. Every 500 years, a woman with a mystical spirit power is born. She has the ability to turn a serpent into the mightiest dragon of all. The nature of the serpent will define the fate of the world, as a good serpent will use its power to protect the universe, but an evil one will use it to destroy the world. The voice concludes by saying that now is the time for the spirit to be awakened. The scene cuts to an accident site in Los Angeles. A massive dent has been formed on the ground, and the cause is unknown. A man being escorted out yells that a beast has risen. Several police officers investigate the place, trying to collect evidence. A reporter named Ethan Kendrick arrives at the site and shoots a video of a scale-like pattern on the ground. Ethan is now back in his office, but cannot stop looking at the scale. It reminds him of a story his mentor, Jack, told him 15 years ago when he was just a kid. Ethan's father once took Ethan to an antique shop that belonged to a man named Jack. There, he had seen the same scale, and a strange light coming from inside a box. Smoke from inside the box washes over Ethan, and Jack realizes what is happening. He fakes a heart attack and sends Ethan's father away to get medicines to talk to Ethan alone. Jack then tells Ethan about the legend of Imugi. Imugi, which translates to the dragon in English, are mystical creatures who lived in heaven with their followers. Every 500 years, one Imugi is rewarded for their good deeds with a chance to become a celestial dragon, a dragon more powerful than all others. But for that, the Imugi will have to receive the gift of Yaiju from the heavens. 500 years ago, a similar opportunity was provided to the serpents. But among them was an evil Imugi named Buraki, who wanted to possess Yaiju for himself so he could spread his evil to the world. Heaven didn't want to give Buraki such powers, so they sent Yaiju to the earth. Back in 1507, Yaiju landed in a small village in Korea. Heaven then sent its best warriors, Bokum and his student Haram, to protect the Yaiju from Buraki. However, the evil Buraki wouldn't back down until he got Yaiju. A girl named Naren was born with a tattoo on her shoulder, which meant that she was chosen to withhold Yaiju. When Naren turned 20, the Yaiju inside her would be completely formed. From an early age, the protector of Yaiju, Bokum, trained Haram to protect Naren and taught him everything he needed to know about Imugi. He gave Haram a medallion that would protect him as Naren's savior. Eventually, Haram and Naren fell in love with each other. The day she turned 20, their village was attacked by an army sent by Buraki to abduct Naren. They destroyed the whole village and killed whoever got in their way. The soldiers then checked every girl's shoulder to look for the mark and found Naren. They abducted her, but Haram came to her rescue and managed to take her away to a waterfall. Bokum ran to the waterfall to find Haram's medallion on the ground. Naren and Haram had run away together. Enraged and desperate to get the Yaiju, the evil Buraki pursued them himself. The two reached a cliff and were about to get caught. They jumped off the cliff, committing suicide, leaving Buraki to wait for another 500 years for Yaiju to be born. After telling the story, Jack shows Ethan a mark on his arm, claiming that he is Bokum's reincarnation and Ethan is Haram's reincarnation. He then hands Ethan the same medallion and tells him to always keep it near. The girl with Yaiju has already been sent to the earth and is named Sarah. They have to find and save her from Buraki in this life as well. Back in the present, Ethan is still in his office. He asks his colleague named Bruce to look for a girl named Sarah, who was born with a dragon tattoo on her shoulder. Bruce laughs, saying that there are thousands of Sarah in LA. The scene cuts to Sarah exercising in a gym. She and her friend watch the news and see Ethan reporting about the scale that was found that morning. The news unsettles Sarah, so she quickly rushes out of the gym. Meanwhile, Agent Frank Pinsky, who is investigating the finding of the scale, goes to meet a scientist studying it. They have found out that the scale is harder than diamond and seems to be of an ancient reptile. No one has ever seen such a substance before, so they do not have much idea about its origin. Sarah has an unsettling feeling and feels like her life's in danger. Her friend Brandy assumes the news from earlier just got into Sarah's head and invites her to go out. At night, 3 thugs harass Sarah on the streets. Jack arrives there and knocks the thugs out in mere seconds before leaving. Somewhere else in a zoo, a zookeeper comes across the evil Imugi Buraki throwing an elephant in the air. A strange man in black clothing watches from afar. The scared zookeeper is left speechless. Sarah is now at the police station, explaining how the thugs were knocked out. A reporter clicks her picture to cover the story. The reporter happens to be one of Ethan's colleagues. Ethan gets a look at the picture of Sarah and sees the tattoo on her shoulders. He has finally found the girl who bears the Yeju. At night, Sarah dreams of someone trying to kill her. When she wakes up, she is troubled by a pain in her chest, so she calls 911, and paramedics escort her to a hospital. Her friend Brandy and her boyfriend go to Sarah's home to pack her clothes and bring them to the hospital, but they come across the giant serpent, Buraki. He kills Brandy in one go and continues searching for Sarah. The man from earlier, who happens to be the general of Buraki's soldiers, is there too. Ethan and Bruce go to Sarah's house, which is being investigated for Brandy's murder. They find out about her being in a hospital and go to meet her. Ethan finally meets Sarah and tells her he is there to help. But as they talk, Buraki circles the hospital looking for Sarah. Ethan and Bruce manage to drive her away from the hospital, but are stopped by the general. However, a car driven by Jack, who is disguised as a lady, saves them. The FBI is investigating Buraki's attack at the hospital and finds out that the serpent is looking for Sarah. Agent Frank is ordered by his boss to kill the girl once he finds her because it is the only way to stop Buraki. Meanwhile, the general summons the army of Buraki called the Aatrox Army. It consists of historic creatures like flying dragons, dawdlers, and black-armored, humanoid night warriors. Jack drops Ethan and Sarah to a beach, from where they go to Ethan's psychologist friend's house. The doctor hypnotizes Sarah and asks her about her past life. Sarah remembers her life as Naren and how she loved Haram. Suddenly a blue light shines from within her, and she starts to float midair. Ethan calms her down, but Buraki finds them there as well. They get into a car and drive away, while the massive serpent follows them. The two manage to get away from it and call Bruce. They meet him at a restaurant, where Bruce prepares a helicopter for them so they can fly away somewhere safe. Jack appears in front of Ethan and asks him to take the girl to the waterfall where a good serpent can get hold of the Yeju. But that would still mean that Sarah would die, so Ethan denies it. Suddenly, Buraki approaches the restaurant, making Ethan and Sarah run for their lives. It follows them around the city, destroying everything that comes in its way. The duo manages to get on the roof of a skyscraper, where they board a helicopter. But before they can take off, the massive serpent slithers up the building and catches the helicopter in its mouth. Ethan and Sarah jump back on the roof as the helicopter goes flying on the ground and explodes. The officials have concluded the situation as an emergency and sent several army choppers to fight Buraki. As the choppers fire at the creature, Ethan and Sarah run away. The army choppers somehow get the beast off the building, but are then attacked by the Aatrox army. A fleet of dragons attacks the soldiers and soon overpowers them. Massive army tanks fight the crowd of dawdlers, but are no match to the creatures. Agent Frank and his associate Campbell finally find Sarah and Ethan and take them to a safe building. However, when they reach there, Frank points his gun at Sarah. He has been ordered to kill her to stop the chaos. Campbell shoots Frank dead before he can kill Sarah. He believes that only Sarah can stop the Buraki from coming back every 500 years. The duo then gets in a car and drives away from the city in hopes of escaping, but the Aatrox army finds them. They are eventually abducted and brought to Buraki's hiding. Ethan is tied to a pole while Sarah is laid for Buraki to consume the Yeju in her. They are surrounded by the Aatrox army and have no way to escape now. The general summons Buraki, who approaches Sarah to get the Yeju, but suddenly, a light flashes upon Ethan's medallion. The medallion's power is released, which lets out a strong force, killing the whole Aatrox army and burning them to dust. But the general and Buraki are left unharmed. The general strikes Ethan, and an electric force coming out of the medallion kills him too. Now, an angered Buraki attacks the two, but is restrained by a good emoji sent from heaven. The two serpents get into an intense battle, slithering around one another. They match in strength and abilities, but Buraki manages to knock out the good emoji and approaches Sarah again. Seeing someone as powerful as the good emoji being defeated, Sarah has no hope left. She finally accepts her fate and approaches Buraki. A bright light shines from her tattoo and creates a magical floating sphere. The sphere is the Yeju. Before Buraki can consume the sphere, Sarah, who can control it, throws it toward the good emoji. The good emoji consumes it and turns into the mighty dragon that Buraki wished to be. Sarah falls unconscious to the ground. After transforming into the dragon, the good emoji is 1,000 times more powerful than Buraki. It strikes Buraki and throws it to the ground easily. The dragon then tries to go back to heaven, but Buraki latches onto its tail. The dragon attacks it with fire and finally kills the beast. It then approaches Ethan holding Sarah and throws out Yaiju from its mouth. Sarah's body turns into a magical smoke and forms the shape of her eternal self. She tells Ethan that they will meet again someday and gets sucked into Yaiju. The mighty dragon consumes the Yaiju and flies away to heaven. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe the channel.